Hi, you guys. I'm back. This is my third one in a week. I'm so excited, though. Y'all get a twofer. Y'all get a two for one. So we got two of my guests. We have Chris Atchison and Cianna Castro from New Jersey in the building. How are y'all doing today?
Woo! Good.
Good, good. So I ask all my guests the same question as the first question, and so I'll start off with you, Miss Cianna.
Mhm.
If no one knew who you were and what you've ever done, who would you say Cianna is?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, off the top of my head, all I can think of is like very observative, very quiet.
Okay, I'm not
Yeah.
mad at it. Okay, how about you, Chris?
I think it probably similar. Someone who's reserved, but can be fun when you get to know
Okay, I hear you. So I want to start out with the King Lear. So I don't know Shakespeare, okay? I didn't get that far in high school, okay? So it was very difficult for me to follow the King Lear, but it was still amazing. I love anything that's live. Like I love I'll go to the opera, honey, okay? Like and won't know nothing about that either, but I just love anything that's live and people are doing it like off the top of the dome or whatever, right? Like so it was amazing. And I just have to shout y'all out. And not because y'all are people of color. It's not just because of that, but y'all killed the show. Like y'all 110% killed the show. I will say the two older gentlemen, you can definitely tell they've acted for a long time. They did great. I think the gentleman that played King Lear and then the
Johnny.
other guy. Yeah. And then the other guy. What was the other guy? I don't
Peter.
know who he was.
His name is Peter.
Okay. I mean, was that was his name is that his real name or is that was his
His
name
name in
in
the
the
show was Gloucester.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, he was a beast too. But other than them two, y'all both came through. And then at first, low key, Chris, I thought because in the beginning your role was kind of quiet a little bit, and so I was kind of thinking like maybe I'm like you know me, like I don't you don't know me, but I'd be kind of looking. 'Cause you know how in movies like the black people die first. They the ones that get the you know what I'm saying though for real. Like you know they get the smaller role. So yeah, so when I first seen y'all come out, so Cianna, you exude strength. You walked with. So I said, oh yeah, she's gonna be it. Like you walked in with power, okay. And so I seen that I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna be a beast out the gate, right? And then so Chris, your role was kind of quiet in the beginning. So I'm like, I know they didn't do it to my boy. I know they didn't have him play like the background. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm already kind of thinking negative about, I'm in the audience all white people. I'm the only black woman in the eye. But everybody, I love the island. We're gonna talk about that too because I just moved over to this island.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hey.
I just moved over here, right? But I used to live over on Camano Island on the other island. For the
oh,
people that don't know what I'm talking about, these are kind of like sister islands. And so we're gonna get into that. But so I'm the only black person in the whole audience. If there
yep.
was somebody else, I didn't see him. And so I'm already out the gate watching y'all. I had already met Professor Davion the day before because I went to his show, right? So, and he killed it. And I knew he was gonna do good. But I was so proud of you, Chris, after a little bit, and then your role like came out, and then you had this huge role. And I'm like, yes, my people. And then and then your role, Cianna, too. You just it was a strength. Like it was a power role. And I don't know if it was supposed to be, or you was just put power in the role, honey. But you did your thing, okay? So now that I've said all that, I had to fill y'all in. Don't nobody probably know about King Lear too much, at least my audience, right? So I had to say that though. But I wanted to ask you guys, or you ladies and gentlemen, did you guys always want to act? And so I'll start with you, Chris, and then we'll go to Cianna. Tell me about that. Did you always want to act, and how did that start?
Um, I wouldn't say I always wanted to act like I wasn't like I didn't feel like I was born. I was like I knew that's the thing I wanted to do. It started because I I went to an elementary school where my grandmother was the PE teacher, and every year she asked me to do the musicals. I was like, no, I don't do that. And then on the last year when you're like fifth grade and you're graduating out of elementary school into middle school, I was like, okay, I'll do it for you, Nana. And I did it, and I just fell in love at a really young age. And from then on, I did know that's what I wanted to do somehow. From doing the first thing I ever did was Annie the musical.
Oh, did you do Yes. It's a hard knock life. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That-
But yeah, I did that, and I just kind of fell in love with the whole thing. And from then on, I just kept doing musicals every year at my school, from middle school to high school, and then I just kind of caught on. That's
That's
how it happened.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How about you, Cianna?
Cute. um, I acting was something I did in like high school because my friends were doing it. Like I didn't really care about it in high school. Like I kind of just did it for fun and like never thought about it again until college. When I needed something to major in, and my theater teacher was like, okay, if you're gonna do a year undecided, just do a year doing something I feel like you're good at. And she was like, you're a pretty good actor. Just go for a year for acting. Um, and then choose your major after that. So I like did my first year and like took like my first real acting classes. And it was like really therapeutic for me. And it helped me out of a pretty dark period. So
Mm.
I did that. I started booking some jobs and like seeing like a paycheck. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like it seems like like we are like me and this acting thing are like pretty cool. So then I did the next year, and then I was just like, okay, like if this is something that I can truly enjoy, as long as I enjoy it, I'll keep doing it. And so that's how I am here now. I just kind of each year, it's always really fun and really adventurous, and so I kind of just kept at it from there.
No, and it takes skill. So I was thinking, and that's obvious, everything takes skill, right? But so, and I've been to like a few plays, but nothing at this level, right? Of understanding and right, like kind of processing everything. At least for me, it took some understanding and processing.
Mm.
But you have to, it's not like a movie, not that I've been on like a movie set, but where they obviously have takes and stuff like that. This play was 2.5 hours or 2 hours. So you have to learn everything. And then, yeah, there was a couple times you guys went off stage, but you have to like remember your lines. Is that difficult? Is that something that's difficult? Obviously, probably not, but was that something that it took a while to learn that skill?
Mm.
I can answer first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah.
Personally, I find Shakespeare easier to memorize than normal, like modern
Wow.
language, because it's in verse. I guess we can get to that later, but like it's in verse, so it's like an iambic pentameter, so it's easier to remember, uh, for me at least. And also, you saw a shortened version of the play. The play could run for 4.5 hours.
Shortened?
Yeah,
How long?
for 4.5 hours or even more, depending on like a version of the play that you do. But no, I don't. I don't think it was hard to memorize. I think the hardest part of acting is not memorizing the words. I think it's finding intentions and a real story behind the words and making the story clear, which we will also get into because I know we had a previous conversation before this about even though it is to me, even though it is Shakespeare and it's hard to understand for people who didn't have an education with it, Shakespeare, it should be accessible and be able to be understood by anyone who sees it.
Yeah.
But that's my thought.
Yeah. No, yeah, we'll definitely get into that because yeah, I got questions about that because I was so confused. But that doesn't mean much with me, honey. Okay, Cianna, talk about you like remembering your lines. Was that a skill that you already had, or tell me more?
Yeah. So for me, it's actually quite the opposite. For me, Shakespeare is, I mean, I will say once you get the hang of it, it's easier. But for me, the learning curve was pretty sharp. For me, Shakespeare, like, just wasn't something I was good at. Like, it took me hours to, like, read any script or any audition material before I even got in this show. But once you start learning the lines, I will say learning the lines is not the hardest part of it, because if you understand what your intention is behind your character, like how I explained to like my family members who are not in acting, I'm like, you don't memorize words, you memorize what you want to do to another person. So if like your goal is to impress this person, based on who you are, you're going to say a certain amount of things to impress that person. And once you have that locked in, the words kind of just like come out.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's great. That's a great point. That's a great point with lots of we can go deep on that. Really. Yeah, no, that's great. Because I think about that too. So I do like I've been doing it for years. So I just started doing voice acting. So I'm a narrator for audiobooks. And
Hey.
yes, it's so fun. And so it is, yeah. And I'm like, I'm 41, and so I like literally just picked this up like last year. I didn't even know I could do it or do it well, and so I'm working on a couple books right now. But with that, it's different, right? Because I'm reading a book, and I essentially have the script in front of me, right? But it's still embodying a character. You know what I mean? I'm still embodying that, and then in the case of me doing a book, I have to embody different characters. But I love that you say, yeah, it doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, it does matter the script, right? But it's more so if you have that intent on doing whatever or being whatever, the words are going to flow. And I find that too. Like I can change my voice based off what character I am, just because, not without even really trying very hard, because I'm really trying to embody that character. So yeah, that's super dope. You just said that. Okay, awesome. So, all right. So Shakespeare, though, specifically Shakespeare, and I know I seen you guys, both of you guys' bios. Chris, you've done previous like Shakespeare plays, right? So is there something that you guys have a love for Shakespeare, or did you kind of fall into that too? And you can either one, you can go.
I'll go again first. I fell in love with Shakespeare actually behind me. You can see it.
Yes.
Not the shameless.
Tell the people what that is. What does that mean?
The American Musical and Dramatic Academy. It's a school
Let's
in
go.
Manhattan.
All right.
I fell in love with Shakespeare there, and I think I also fell in love with Shakespeare when I was in high school, and we were like reading some of the first plays. Like the first play that Shakespeare play that I ever read was The Tempest, which I'm about to do in like a month.
Awesome.
And I just kind of fell in love with it. I fell in love with the words, and I guess we'll get more into this also. But having 3 Black actors and also in the show, because I think Shakespeare writes characters that aren't limited to race. These characters are so large and have such great stories that any actor could fulfill them, no matter disability or race or anything of such. Because theoretically, Shakespeare only wrote 2 real Black characters: one Othello the Moor and Aaron the Moor in Titus and Andronicus. And so, I just love that because it's so removed from it first being written, that anyone could really fill these roles, no matter age. I mean, sometimes it depends on age clear, but even nowadays, people do different versions of the Tempest with a younger Prospero, or even we technically have a younger King Lear. King Lear can be played at a much older age. So I just love that there's so much space to be filled with casting and how these roles can be attacked.
That's awesome. You say that. So, and now that I think about it, so like I said, I don't know nothing about Shakespeare, but have y'all seen? I don't know. Y'all a lot younger than me. There was a movie called Othello with Mekhi Phifer.
Yes.
Yes.
Dope movie. Dope movie. And so then like, so when I watched it, I was like, okay, I know Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So was that? And I still never read the actual Shakespeare play Othello. Was the movie really exactly like the play, or was it like kind of a little bit off?
Yes, the Othello is a story based around a Moor, which was a term used for people of darker skin back at the time. And Othello is this person. Yes, I won't have to explain the story, but he's the only Black person in the play, and they're about to do this on Broadway with Denzel Washington next year.
Shut up. Are they? Wow, that's going to be nice. Well, and I brought that up because I didn't, when you said that those were the only 2 Black actors in Shakespeare, I didn't know that. And then that made me think of Othello, like, oh yeah, Mekhi Phifer, you know what I mean? So that's dope. So, okay, I don't want to get too far off. Cianna, how about you? Did you fall in love with Shakespeare, or did that kind of just happen?
I didn't like it.
Yes, be real, honey.
I couldn't read it. I loved reading. I mean, what's funny, Chris? You got something you want to share? No.
Right.
I was someone that really enjoyed reading, and so the fact that Shakespeare didn't come easily to me, it was so, like, for me, it was just disrespectful. I was like, what you mean?
Not disrespectful.
And I was a big reader, like, did so well on all my English test scores and like all of that. And so I kind of just like, if I didn't have to read it, I avoided it. But then when I decided, when I was like, okay, I'm going to do this acting thing or whatever. And I took a class on it. That was the first time where I was like, oh, I kind of understand this now behind the lens of an actor. Like, using those tools to break it down helped me understand it. And then after I graduated, I was like, I really want to be able to read this and enjoy this. Like, I hate being scared of something. I hate the feeling that I can't like
Yep.
dive into a piece of like literature. So I was like, you know what? Let me just like figure it out. And so I started like auditioning for Shakespeare things and really just like diving into it. And now I love it.
Aw, look at that. So you was scared at first. You was a little
I was
scared.
scared. I was scared. But he be writing. He really be saying some things where you just go, the difference of man and man. You are so right.
Man, I know. Like after I had to process a few of the lines, I'm like, "Ooh, that's the read." Ooh,
It's
I'm
good.
like,
Like
yeah.
I'm like,
Chris
okay.
like, "Oh God,
Okay.
Oh, y'all are funny.
I keep dropping my phone."
What's the line with Gloucester and Ed Poor Tom? Time's a plague when madmen lead the blind.
That's the line. Yeah.
Oh yes, I know. Yes, I do remember that verse. Yeah, I was like, I understand that. Like, why do I always understand the bad stuff? all the reads, all the when they was like talking crazy to folks. I was like, ooh, I got that one now. Yeah, the poetic stuff, I didn't really. It wasn't connected. I don't know why. Okay, yeah. So that's awesome. No, and that's great. That I'm happy you said that because that's like a word for somebody, Cianna. How is like you wasn't gonna let it overcome you. Like it bothered you. You wasn't feeling it, but you're like, hold on, let's attack this. 'Cause I promise you, I would have never thought that because your role is so strong and you played it so well. Like I would have never thought that this was something that you was like, oh, I'm not really feeling this. I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? Type thing. So you did wonderful. That's great. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about how you both got from New Jersey all the way over to these islands, y'all. Like, tell me about that process and like
It's
how and
beautiful.
why. Yeah, just tell me what you want to tell me about that because I think that that's super amazing. Whoever can go.
The lady can go first this time.
Wow. Okay. I don't know. Like auditioning for the show or like what?
Yeah, like, well, I mean, I know that you guys are from New Jersey, and so you
Yeah.
guys had to be over. I know Chris was telling me that he was over. You guys were over here for a couple months or something. So how did that all play out? That you wanted to like go away from your families all the way across the United States for a couple months to do this show? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah. Chris, go first. You
I got
speak
you.
so well.
So actually, I'm used to it because Cianna knows I talked about the audition process a lot early when
Okay.
we got here because just to like for fundraisers and stuff.
Okay.
So it was a long audition process. We started auditioning in like February, right?
February.
And so I found it on Backstage. Where'd you find it, Cianna?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think a friend of hers
Oh, a
sent
friend sent it to me.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
a friend sent it to her, and so I have had no connection with ISF previously, so I
Okay.
just saw it. When you're looking for new jobs as an actor, you just look on Backstage. I'm scrolling, I saw it. I was like, I'll audition. I'll send my stuff in, and then they ask you to send like a first initial tape of you just doing like a Shakespeare monologue. Then you do a callback. Then you send a callback tape. Once you send a callback tape, you gotta then do a Zoom with them. So it's a long
Wow.
process. It took a few months, and then we were casted, and they
Wow.
were like, and my first question was, "Are you giving us lodging?" Well, I
I
have
know
to.
that's right. You're like, who's paying the bill? Like,
Yeah. So, and what's so great about ISF and why I love being there, they take care of you. They gave me and Cianna a car, somewhere to stay, and
oh wow.
and that's all you really need. And then you get to explore the island when you're not, rehearsing or doing a show. And so that
Wow.
process of finding ISF was, it feels like a one in a million chance, but it was great. And and I really loved that summer so much. And you meet so many great people throughout it.
And then so you going on and you said so it was like 2 months. You said you was out here, like, was that hard on family? I mean,
It
obviously
was,
it's gotta be, right?
it was from June to September.
How long is it? I'm not good at math. How
June,
come
July,
on.
August,
This is
September.
insane.
So like
Oh,
3 months, yeah.
oh, like 3 months. Yeah. Okay. So and it was, I mean, they was paying you, and so it was fine. It was just, something that you had to do,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's
But something
awesome.
that was really fun to do. I mean,
Yeah,
it is a slight adjustment. I mean, Whitby is beautiful. So like
Yeah.
it is.
there's no complaints there. And the people are great and the community is fantastic. And I feel like the community really welcomed us with open arms and uh like made us feel welcomed and made us feel at home for those 3 months. So it was like, and we kind of came a family within the company, and the company was fantastic. Sometimes you can do a show and you never know who you're going to be with or what it's going to be
Mhm.
like. But fortunately for us, the dynamic was lovely, and saying goodbye was hard.
Aw.
And yeah, so it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And so yeah, we can kind of get into that because so yeah, we're in a predominantly white island, and I have been living. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Well, not originally born and raised, but I've been living in Minneapolis, Minnesota, like literally like down the street from where George Floyd got killed. Like that's
Mm,
where, you know what I mean. So that just shows my neighborhood and my surrounding, my environment. To come
mhm.
way out here to Washington, and I initially moved to Camano Island, which I think it's like the sister island, I think. But it's just another one of the set of islands out here, and obviously predominantly white. The whole 7 months that I lived out there, not one other black person, but me and my 5 kids or 4 kids. That's it. Like seriously, the whole 7 months, I didn't see it. I was looking for them. Trust me, I was. Didn't find didn't find one. And so I just recently moved here to Whidbey Island about a month ago, and it's beautiful here and it's completely different. We had, and I don't want to get into it about Camino, but it was bad experiences as far as race goes for my daughter's school, from just how it
Mm,
was. It was just not accepting. We'll leave it at that, right?
Mm.
So I get here, obviously, like I'm kind of, my barriers are up, you know what I mean, because of my previous experience. Exact opposite. I mean, everybody's here so nice, so
oh,
accepting, so well. Yeah, it's like crazy. My kids' school, even my kids' schools, and they're all in high school. I have one in middle school. They come home from school, mom, everybody's cool. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just is really a complete difference. And so I want to talk about that as far as it goes with acting. Now, you guys are from New Jersey. I know East Coast is blackish. That's probably not what I meant to say. But you know what I'm
Black-ish.
saying.
It is
Right,
black.
right. That part. Is it really? Okay, I don't know. I've been to New York, but I haven't been to Jersey.
I'm from Newark,
Um,
New Jersey, so there it's black and Latinos. Like
okay,
that's about
okay.
it.
You're like, that's it. That's all.
Yeah.
So you guys said you guys had it. I mean, you clearly saying it's been a great experience. Did it feel weird? Are you guys used to that, to being like the only, maybe the only black ones cast in the play, the audience being all white? Is that uncomfortable? Tell me about that a little bit.
I'll go
Either
first.
one.
Um, I live in New Jersey, but I'm from South Carolina,
Okay.
and so South Carolina is, as you know, a conservative state.
Yeah.
But there's a large population of African American people. But where I went to school, there was not. There was a small amount. It was predominantly white. So I mean, I'm kind of used to it, in a
Right.
sense, but I'm not. I don't feel threatened by it anyway.
Right. Right.
But so I felt like coming to the island, I wasn't too like flabbergasted. It wasn't like a whole shock of my world.
Right.
Uh, you know, you learn to live with them.
Yep.
You-
I mean, but that's true because hey, you gotta learn to live with us, okay? And that's true. Like even me, like, and I was adopted, and so I was adopted into a white family, and so I'm no, by any means prejudiced or anything like that, But it is a thing, right? Of course, we know it's a thing. It's a thing that you gotta either roll with or not, right? Or you gotta adapt or you don't. And so I adapt to anything, honey. So it was okay for me to be in the audience. Of course, I noticed that I literally was the only black person in the audience. Very much noticed it, but I was cool. I'm straight. Like, people was like walking by, like, how you doing? Are you doing all right? I'm like, I'm good. Yes. How are you, honey? So it was great for me. And I'm going to keep going. I love it here. That there's the whole theater of arts is here on this island. And like I said, I love anything live. And so it's been great, and so I'm gonna keep engaging in these type of things on this island. But yeah, I love it that they're very accepting and very inclusive. How's been your experience, Cianna, with just the different race dynamic?
It's been pretty cool. I mean, in addition to the fact that like there was 3 black folks, there was also Paulina, who played Cordelia in Lear, is from Mexico City, and
Okay, yeah.
Hannah, who played my sister, is Asian American. Her family's from Vietnam.
Okay.
And so like there was like a whole bunch of different like cultures in the
Yep.
company itself. And then I think the company did a good job with kind of addressing that and acknowledging that. Like I remember in my first Zoom call with Olina and Angelica, who are the artistic directors of the company, they were like, listen, there's no textured hair products on this island.
Okay.
And they were like, so if you, whatever you need for your hair texture, like order it to the island, and this is how the, and like just that transparency is like so like welcoming, because it's like, okay, you understand what you understand part of what I need, and you understand that this island isn't necessarily like predominantly people of color. And they also did
Right.
that during orientation, where like, this is the demographic of the island, like this is realistically what it is, and blah 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 blah. So I feel like race can be a factor of uncomfortability, but when the company kind of acknowledges that and like works towards giving you what you need, especially my biggest thing as a Black woman is like hair, like my hair, like that's for me is like, oh my God, the biggest, like that is my biggest like sign of Blackness. It's like, I need to be able to have XYZ so I can do XYZ. And so, yes, it is a factor, but it wasn't an inhibiting factor because of how the company treated it. So, yeah.
And I think that's just the island. And because I can speak to that myself. Like I said, I just, school just started. I got my kids enrolled in school and like in getting them enrolled and stuff. And so there's this wonderful, wonderful lady named Mary. Shout out to Mary. She's probably not watching this, but it's okay. And she's like, and I know she's like, if you want to come over here, and I'll talk to you. And I'm like, okay, oh Lord, what's she about to talk to me about? So she pulls me to the side away from my kids. And it's like, there's a place called Pomoja Place, I hope I'm saying it right, Pomoja Place. And it's a place just for African American, I think people of color, because they have acknowledged that this is a predominantly white island and that you can come here and feel included. I was like, dope. I didn't say that in front of her, but I was like, who does that, right? Like, that's so dope just to be able to like, look, we understand, but there's a place where people who look like you know what I mean, to make you feel included and make you feel, valued, right? And so, yeah, hands down, I was like, oh, shout out Whidbey Island for real, because like that's just such a thing. So yeah, and it matters, it really does matter. It can make you, even me, like I'm so strong in everything I do, like such, act like I am. I feel like, but it does make you feel some type of way when, everybody in the room doesn't look like you sometimes. And so I'm happy that's been your experience, because I swear when I sat down and I seen the numbers, right. I didn't worry, but I was like, dang, I wonder what their experience is. And so I'm so happy that you guys are reporting that you guys have had a good experience with this whole production.
They did have a Sally's up in Oak Harbor.
Okay, so yes, let's talk about your role, Chris. So what people probably don't know is you was scantily clad in most of it. In layman's term, y'all, he was half naked, bro. Like, more than half. Like, bro, when you came out, I was like, oh Lord, he's giving the people something right now. Like, let's, and then not to mention that, okay, so I'm not going, how do you say this? Gracefully aging population.
Right.
Right. So getting that role and why you wanted to do that role.
I auditioned in my mind for that role and for the other brother, that Edmund, the one
okay,
who
yeah.
to me. But when I accepted the role, I came in with the thought of like, that's how it has to be done. I don't think you can play Edgar and Edgar becoming poor Tom without having that transformation, or I feel like it's not done in a respectful way to the text. I mean, in the text, it talks about how this person is bare during a storm and is wet and is cold and is, scared for his life. And so I don't think that role can be done without having, that bit of like, not rated PG-13 on the stage, because
right.
I think it's how the story must be told. And I had great conversations with the director, and, Terry, who was the director of King Lear, obviously gave the option of like, if you wanted to have more clothing, but I was always very adamant on, I think the story must be told this way because that's how it's told in the text. I want to be respectful to what the story really is and his story. So yeah.
No, yeah, that was awesome. That was definitely risky. I'd have been like, I just need an full body suit that looks brown. Like, I'm not being outside with no clothes on. Yeah. And so what people may not know is this play was outside. It was the evening, and me personally, I don't do bugs at all. No picnics. I barely like barbecues. Okay, so there were bugs everywhere, and these huge bugs. I don't know what they were.
Termites.
All over the audience.
Termites.
What are they called?
Termite.
That's what they were. No, they float. They were flying. They
Yeah,
had wings.
these are flying termites. Yeah.
Don't tell me, Lord. Don't tell me they're flying termites. Lord,
But they don't do
that's what that
anything.
was.
They don't do anything. Though.
They don't bite. They just can't see, so they just land everywhere.
Yeah.
Now they blind. Lord, there's a blind flying termite out there, bro. I had no idea. Only on the island, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So them and they're big, and so it hit like I can't remember. I think the play was like 6 to 8 or something like that, and it hit like 7, and it was like their time to come out. Like they were everywhere, and I'm looking, and I kept thinking about you, Chris, because I'm like, he's naked, like he's gonna get bit up, and I'm thinking they bite or whatever, and so I'm like, was that a thing? Like with mosquitoes, bugs, it was getting cold, it was getting colder. Everybody else had blankets and coats. I forgot mine like an idiot. And so it was getting cold. How was that for you walking around with the bugs at night? And talk about that piece.
The termites are fine. I mean,
they're not fine, Chris.
No, the termites are fine. The mosquitoes were annoying. I would say that.
Okay, yeah.
I personally, and everyone was so protective. The cast was really protective of me when I went on as, being half naked. They were like, "Are you cold?" When I came off stage, they were like, "Are you cold?" But I was never cold. I mean, you saw it. I'm like running around, jumping around. I'm all over the place. I'm all over the whole entire stage when I'm 4 times. So I never was cold. I was honestly pretty warm and sweating most of the time.
That's crazy.
And no, the bugs are fine except for mosquitoes. I kept getting mosquito bites, which was annoying. I'm surprised you never heard Cianna scream from backstage because of flying termites landing.
Okay, all right, relax.
That's great. She's like, TMI. They didn't need to know all that. Like,
I just like don't. They love kissing people's faces, and
ooh. I was surprised I stayed because, like I said, I'm not a bug person, and they was getting real close, bro. And I was like, okay, I'm about to. I'm like that. Like I'll scream, and I'm like, I'm about to scream and act a fool. I'm the only bug person here. They must see me act up out here. So I was like, I was praying that nothing landed on me because I was gonna have to leave, but I was able to stay for the whole time. Chris, I want to talk about also the dust or whatever it was that you put over. Like I felt like I was like your mom through that. I don't know how old you are. I was like your low key side mom or something. Because I'm like, hold on, the dust is gonna be in his eyes. Like what's because you put that dust or whatever it was all over your face. And I'm like, what if he gets that in his eye? Like I really just was like, I'm an empath anyway. So like I feel everybody, right? Like and so I'm like, I wonder how that is for him. So you putting the dust all over your face. Has there ever been anything with that? Is that like with your skin? Like I don't know why I'm asking that, but I am.
Yeah, you sound just like everybody else, like all the cast members too. Even the cast members never really figured out the whole dust thing. It was always fine with me. I just kind of picked it up and threw it on my face when I was on stage, and you just close your eyes and it doesn't get in your eye. And it's actually, and I was talking to one of the cast members, and Alyssa, who played Kent. And she was like, "It's clay, so it's kind of honestly pretty good for your skin." And my skin was fine. And
you got a whole clay mask going on.
I never broke out. And then when I come on as Portom, it's kind of all over my body, and so I'm back there like doing all that myself. And no, there's never any issues. Like it was always very easy.
Wow.
Yeah. Some nights you'd go, ugh, and I'm like, oh, is he okay?
I was like, yeah, I don't know.
Were you acting? Is that what you were doing up there?
No, yeah, it wasn't like no. There's no. It was acting. It wasn't like I threw clay in my mouth. It was.
Oh my gosh.
So you guys, and I don't know, and so me, just because I'm me and I like overthink sometimes, or maybe I just analyze everything. There was multiple characters being played, and so I literally during it, because once again I didn't know much about the play, was reading. I'm so happy that I had the little booklet that you could like read what was going on and all the different characters because I needed it. And so I like during the play, there was a time I probably missed a lot of it because I read through the whole thing so I could just get some understanding. So I was super, super confused. But that doesn't mean much. But there was people around me too. I could kind of hear, saying that they were confused and that, that there was multiple multiple. There was actors playing multiple characters, and I seen that by the brochure as well. Was that because you guys were understaffed, or was that by like? Tell me more about that and why that was that way, because there was confusion.
I'll let you go, Cianna. I'll back you up on
that. I mean, what I can remember is Well, I mean, normally for Shakespearean plays, there are, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, there are usually many minor characters scattered throughout the play. So there'll be a
Yeah.
servant here, an attendant here, a blah blah here. So from my experience from seeing like plays like this, normally people are doubled because that's just easier.
Okay.
It also like makes, sometimes it can make more sense if you just have someone like switching on and off. I feel like that's like normal for like theater.
Okay.
And I remember Terry being specific about who she wanted to double as who.
Yeah.
So like when Cornwall dies in the eye gouging
Yeah.
scene, he, like gets stabbed, and then he comes back as the attendant to say Cornwall is dead. I remember Terry being like kind of excited about that because it's like, haha,
Right. Right.
now someone else. So the doubling is normal, and the
Okay.
doubling can be very intentional, but I also can see how it can be confusing. But Terry was really specific about the number of cast members, so I don't think it was like a
Yeah. So
Oh, okay. So it wasn't understaffing issues.
no,
no,
no, no.
no, I wouldn't say understaffing issues. I think it's just the fact that I know you didn't see the other one, but we did two plays. We were in repertoire, and we did two
Okay.
plays. We just switched off from each performance. And Terry asked Olina, who's the artistic director, it was basically like, "How many actors can I get?"
Mm-hmm.
Was the basic question. And you know, Alina is leading a great nonprofit organization that allows people to come to see a show without paying nearly anything if they didn't want to. And so what comes with that is the fact that I wouldn't say it's understaffed, but you have to be more concise with how many people you put in the cast, how many people is working on a production, because you want to pay everyone the amount that they deserve.
Right.
And so
Mhm.
the only way they can pay all the how many of us? What, 10, 11, 12? Pay
Mhm.
that amount of actors and have a high level of actors, you have to have a smaller amount. So even though King Lear has a
Okay.
bunch of minor characters, Terry took on the task of like, okay, only can use 11 people. We're gonna figure it out, and we're just gonna figure out by switching small costumes, and the audience is really gonna have to lock in, or they're gonna have to have known the play before, you know. But
Right.
so it's just a simple fact of not understaffing, but want to pay everyone the amount that they deserve, and the fact there's a cool challenge in it too for a director and for the actors.
Yeah.
You can't. The actors are playing multiple characters, and you know, although sometimes minor, just to have that fact of the challenge of trying to be someone else, but then try to be someone else right when you turn back on. And I think
Mm.
King Lear is a great play for that too, because King Lear is a play about disguises. Not only does Edgar's character disguise himself, but Kent also disguised himself to be someone else. This play is about identity and how your
Mm.
identity can be fallen through just despair and someone totally banishing you. So I think the aspect of how Terry was able to intertwine identity with also the just like the fact that we don't have enough actors to fill each role, it's the way she intertwined that to me was beautiful. I would have loved to watch this because I mean I have the benefit of knowing King Lear, but
Right.
if I knew King Lear and came to this, I was like, oh, the director had such great insight about like how identity in the play can be shown with the actual actors playing different
Yeah.
characters. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry,
That's so great.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said sorry that was long winded, but yeah.
No. Oh no. No. That's great because I'm like having an aha moment now.
Mhm.
Right. Because like, and I'm working on thinking negative about everything. Lord help me. But like I like when I'm processing it, I was like, oh yeah, because everywhere's understaffed. Right. So and then we're on this small island. Right. Like so I'm like. They probably couldn't get enough actors, and so I left it at that. Like, okay, chalk it up for that. They're doing what they can do. But you saying that is really an aha moment for me because you're right. Like, and it took me probably a day to really understand everything. Like, 'cause I thinking back, like, because remember, Chris, I asked you in the chat, or on Instagram, I asked you, like, were you playing? And we'll kind of get into that. I know time is not my friend. Um, we will. Your like, was your character? Did he have mental health issues? And you're like, well, he was like faking it. He was disguising it, right? And I'm like, oh, I thought I knew that, but I didn't. So the whole identity piece, it was beautiful. Like I'm like, oh my god, it was beautiful. how the director did do that. Now that I'm thinking about it, about changing people's identity. I know the one character, I think King Lear he did have mental health. He was like,
Yes, and
yes,
and
okay,
there's a little bit of like I've also talked with people. I think like poor Tom also was. I think he was also dealing with mental health issues, but also using it as a disguise. But that
okay,
really, when Lear met poor Tom, that really like Lear saw that and was like it kind of just opened a different world for him, and that's kind of how he kind of fell into madness. But I want to quickly add on to what you were saying about what I've loved talking about you, or talking about this whole play with you in general about is just like you had thoughts about it after.
yep,
My big thing about theater in general, and what I fear that sometimes theater can kind of turn into, is that we're supposed to know everything about it and feel great about it after the ending. I think it's great. I think we honestly succeeded. That you are confused about some things. Yeah, maybe those things are great, but you're thinking about it
yep.
still over and over again. And that's what you really want from a piece of theater, not from a piece of theater of sitting down like, oh, I got it. It was a cool story. I'm never going to think about it again. That's not what you want from theater. And what I've loved talking about you and love that we're talking about right now is that you keep thinking about it. And I've heard people keep thinking about this because it's a big piece of theater. You're not supposed to encompass everything. You're not supposed to know everything from just a first watch.
That's so dope. That's so dope because and it makes me want to see more. You know
Mm.
what I mean? It makes me want to see more. Like, and I'm interested in more plays, like Shakespearean plays, and then like I even now want to like go back and like watch Othello again, the movie, and and probably read it. Like, but yeah, you're right. Like, and if you're that type of person, right, that wants to kind of dig deep, and that's me. Like, like I want to know about the unknown. I want to know if I'm confused. I'm like you, Cianna. Like, if something's kind of overtaking me, and I feel like I don't really know, I'm gonna go back and try to see if I can conquer this. So I want to go back and figure it out. So that's beautiful. You just said that too, because like I think that you guys did what you were supposed to do. Like whereas I initially kind of thought it was like, oh, they just kind of are trying to do what they can do because they don't have enough
Right.
actors or they don't have enough costumes or whatever the case is. It wasn't that. It was the director doing her job. I want to quickly go back because time's going. I hate this timer. Uh, gives me anxiety. Cianna, your character. So tell me all the people you played. Now I know the one you was the sister. You was a sister because I know she was a beast. She was like sitting up. I'm like, okay, then, all right, put your shoulders back then. And so you played that really strong role. But did you play any other characters?
Yes, I played a servant in the first act and also a servant in the second act. So the first servant to let Gloucester know that, hey, Regan is coming over in the middle of the night. And then the
Okay.
second servant to let Cordelia know that the British were advancing, which is really interesting because Goneril is, I think Terry's intention behind it was like, since Goneril's on the side of the British and Goneril is Regan's sister, let someone who's involved in what they're saying be the main. I just confused myself with what I just said, but let
Yeah.
Chris help me. Help.
He's like, I got nothing. I don't know what you're saying. No,
No, I think I get what you're saying.
Yes, I
I'm
played two
confused. I'm
servants.
just gonna be honest.
I played two servants and Goneril, and that was that. I don't think. Yeah.
But no, I want to ask. So, but you seemed strong. Like were you supposed to be like the because what's her name, Cordelia? She did amazing too. I was confused when she was like the jester or the fool or whatever.
Yes.
It took me a long time to get
Mhm.
that. Like, and even though she put the hat on,
Yeah.
she needed something else. Okay, or maybe it was just me. And I guess she had the violin, right? Like,
You
but
know
it's
what's
still.
funny? That's a common one. That's like even
Yeah.
if
Oh
normal
Lord,
huge production with minor characters, that's a common double with
is it?
Cordelia. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, because it
That's
took me for a long time because I'm thinking, why did she? And then I noticed something was different because her whole, she was the fool, and so she was like joking and she had jokes and everything, making everybody laugh. So I was like, oh, she's like
yeah,
the jester or whatever now. But it took me a long time,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
when she's Cordelia, and that's Goneril's sister, right?
yes. So
So,
Goneril. So
go
Goneril
ahead.
is the oldest of the three. which is funny because I'm the youngest in real life of
Oh.
the three. And to answer your first question, yes, she's supposed to be like this commanding figure,
Okay.
and like this really strong woman on the outside, and obviously going through some shit on the inside. Sorry, I just cursed.
No, you good. We grown out here.
And so my approach was kind of, and especially after seeing my costume and seeing like that military-esque idea, I really played with, what her physicality would look like, which is a lot different from mine. It's something I definitely had to like put on. And yeah, did that answer?
Yes, no, that answered my question. Yeah, I'm just processing. Yeah, so no, that definitely answered my question because you fulfilled the role, okay? Like, because I got like, and I didn't know that. That's why I'm like asking. Like, I didn't know if she was supposed to be, or I'm like, is this old girl that's who she is, and she's just putting in for this role? Like, because you exuded power, you walked with power, you know what I mean? You spoke with power and authority. Yeah, you did so good. You did so good. I came home. Yo, go ahead. Go ahead.
When we first started auditioning for this, and they kept calling me back for gonorrhea, I kept telling my friends, I was like, these people are crazy. Like, I'm not mean. I'm not like, there's no way I can. Hey,
Chris's face.
I swear I was going to be called in for Cordelia. I was like, what is this? Why am I being called back as the villain? I was like, there's no world where I can play gonorrhea. I was like, there's no world.
There's a world. There's a whole world for you in gonorrhea, honey.
Whole world.
Chris is like, yeah, whole world. We'll talk later. No.
I mean, that means a lot that she came off as like commanding and like powerful.
Yes, you did so. I mean, when you walked in, I'm telling you, your walk, bro. Like, yeah, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Yeah. Okay, so time is just fleeting. Okay, so we can wrap it up. I want to know what you guys are currently working on. What are your aspirations? We can start. Chris, you can start if you want. What are you looking forward to, and then what are you currently working on down the road?
What I'm looking forward to is another year to audition and find things new. I'm of course gonna try to audition for ISF again and hopefully come back and hopefully you'll see me in person again. But I have big hopes in a sense. We talk about I just recently graduated and it's been a lot of fun and it's been eye-opening and I feel like the world is just now really appearing to me. So it feels good. I'm currently working on. So next week I'm gonna be filming a short film I wrote with some of my friends. And then after that, I'll be doing The Tempest in October for a one-time performance. And then more things to come after that. But those are the two upcoming things, yeah.
That's awesome. And so you said writing. So you wrote your own play then already?
Yeah, I wrote
awesome. Awesome. How about you, Cianna? What are you looking forward to? And are there any things that are coming up for you?
I am looking forward to another year of kind of like dipping my toes into the New York world and the New York market. I've been afraid of like the New York theater film scene for a while. So this is like kind of my year to really just dive in. Currently, I'm working on my season 2 of my natural hair blog. I started this blog earlier this year. Natural hair has always been like my biggest like fascination, my biggest thing.
Yes, honey.
Thing to like figure out. I think it's very much the wild, wild west where like we kind of don't really have much information on how to do it. And so I have a blog centered around that and figuring it out. And yeah, that should be coming out in October and I'm really excited. And I've been working on that a lot since the contract ended actually. And yeah.
Awesome. Y'all both have done amazing work. Y'all are both super hands down one of the best actors on that show. I'm not just saying that seriously. Like y'all did great. So thank you for being here with me. This was so cool.
Thank you so much. This was super fun.
All right, y'all. That's another one. Thank y'all for being here. If y'all don't know about King Lear, y'all better get on it. Like, yeah, it was a very, very good play, and I'm into Shakespeare now at 41, I guess. This is your girl Shay, where we're set apart and set aside from the rest. I'll see y'all next episode. Bye bye.